In this video, we will be replacing the motor and switch in this DW735 Dewalt Thickness Planer. To begin this process, we will remove our 4 fasteners holding on our top cover and then lift off that top cover. And inside we have 3 thumb screws holding down our dust chute. And we will want to pivot our dust chute up and out as we remove this. And just as a side note, the head has been replaced with a helical head previously, so this may look different from your planer. The dust chute adapter can be removed next. And we're then going to open the mouth of the planer as wide as it can go. And from the back of the planer, we will take a look up underneath at the bottom side of where the motor is located at. And underneath there we can see 4 hex head bolts, and using a 5mm hex head wrench we can loosen those bolts. And at this point our motor is loose, but we are still held on by a variety of items. We will remove the handle closest to the motor, and this uses a 6mm hex head fastener. And if we remove our access port for our belt pulley, we can see that pulley with our belt around it, and by having loosened the motor, that belt should come off much easier. Now we also have an electrical wire with a hold down, and that hold down is held on by 2 Phillips head screws. And I should be able to work that motor at least partially out of the unit. And that electrical wire does go into our front control panel, this being held on by 3 Phillips head fasteners on the rear of the unit and a variety of fasteners on the front. Taking a look at our switch, we have 4 Phillips head fasteners to remove, and we should be able to work that switch out. Taking a look at our wiring behind that switch, we do see that we have had an electrical fault, and this occurring in multiple locations, and we can work off those leads from that switch. Now, as we can see some damage to the switch as well, we will be replacing this also. And we can remove our feed rate selector switch. This is a 4mm Allen head fastener. And at the bottom of my panel, I also have 2 fasteners. I am using a 7/64. I'm not sure what size this is actually supposed to be, as 2.5mm is too small and 3mm is too big. We then have 3 fasteners on our material removal gauge. And then behind that gauge we do have 1 additional Phillips head fastener. And we can then work that front panel off. Now if we take a look behind that front panel, we do have 1 connection point for our motor reset. We can work that lead off as well. Taking a look at our wiring, we have 2 bundles of wire. The bundle on the left goes to the motor. The bundle on the right goes to our power cord. We're going to inspect our power cord wires first. We have a small chunk missing, which looks like it might have been from the factory. On our return, we also have a burnt portion, but I should have enough length on this return wire to just cut off the bad portion and install a new connector. The motor wire has several areas that are burnt. Our motor wire is obviously in poor condition, and given that our new motor does come with our leads, we'll just remove this entire unit. These wires are held on by some grommets or dust boot seals. Our objective is to work those off next. But I do need to remove my ground connection. And my objective to remove this is squeezing it with slip joint pliers and working that wire clamp through the machine. And we can then work that motor out. And I do like to compare my new part with my old part just to make sure they look the same. We do have our pulley we need to install. And this is left-handed thread, so righty loosey, lefty tighty. Now on one end of my motor, I have a fan with a 1/2 inch nut. On my other side, I have my pulley. I am going to snug that pulley down with a 1/2 inch socket and a pair of needle nose pliers. We're going to take a quick look at our motor location. We can see that we have 4 holes. These are for those mounting bolts. We also have 2 protrusions which sync up to the bottom of our motor. This will help us seat it correctly in the machine. But to make this one step easier, we are going to remove our plastic trim going around the entire machine, starting with 2 4mm hex head bolts in the front, 2 Phillips head fasteners on the back, and we are going to remove that other handle as well. This being held on by 2 6mm Allen head fasteners. And then we should be able to work that top off. Now, as a quick note, I do see that I only have about half of my belt left. I will be replacing this, but I will do that in a different video. And this will give us nice, clear access for installing our new motor. And installing those 4 5mm hex head fasteners will secure that motor. Now, as you install these, you are cutting the threads into the plastic motor housing, so you need to use a little bit of force to get them started and then make sure they get snugged down. And with that new motor in place, we can work our housing back on. And that housing had 2 Phillips head screws in the back and 2 4mm hex head fasteners in the front. And we can add that handle back on as well. That had 2 6mm fasteners. And then I can feed my new motor wires through. And I am going to add my hold down so that I can gauge how much wire I have to work with. This using 2 Phillips head fasteners. And I can then add that wire clamp. At this point, we are going to address our wiring issue. We can remove the old connector. Strip back a little bit of the wiring. Install our new connector. Crimp that on and heat that up. And we did get our new switch. We have a couple trim pieces we need to switch from our old switch to our new switch. Taking a look at our wiring, we have a small black box. This correlates to our safety shutoff, which correlates to the underside of the cover. The small protrusion on the underside of the cover will seat itself in the corresponding location, which then activates our switch. That has two wires, one of which goes to our power cord and the other goes to our reset button on the front panel. And we can also add that ground wire back in. And we can reinstall that front panel, feeding our wires through the switch opening. And we have our two 7/64 Allen head screws, one Phillips head screw behind our material removal gauge, three Phillips head screws on our material removal gauge, and three Phillips head screws on the back of that panel. We can then connect our new switch. Our terminal setup is as follows, and we can use this diagram to connect each of the leads to our new switch. And that then is followed by the installation of our switch, which has 4 Phillips head fasteners. After that, we have our feed rate selector, our cover for the belt, our other handle, the dust chute, and our cover. And when I first test this, I do like to turn it on and then off really fast the first time. I'll then turn it on for a little bit longer, turn it off, and then on for a little bit longer. And turn it off again. And at this point, everything is operating as it should. So we will call this repair complete.